And I think it works. Okay, so I don't have anything planned today. I'm going to write some docs. Not sure what exactly, but yeah, we're going to see. And uh, I don't know what exactly I have in mind to say in the beginning. I guess I will mention this. I talk. Hmm. Oh, I don't know where to find it. Yeah, there. uh, okay. So Dave said that, hey, is Twitch that bad? Like, should we should we find something else? And a lot of people now are moving to Kick, which paid some kind of streamer. I think it's not just a streamer; it's like number one streamer, I think, on Twitch. But they paid him like 100 millions to stream on Kick. There are like few other ones. I don't know. They're they're closing pretty quick, so I don't remember all the names. And uh, I tried to create an account on this one on Kick.com, and it's pretty bad, the UI and stuff. I don't know like how much. I don't know how long they had to create all of that stuff, and it's like all the stupid mistakes, if that makes sense. It's like when some kind of like model is shown, if your screen is like too um, I don't know, if the height is like not enough to fit the model, it's just not going to show you. It's just going to like cut it off. So we have like a button on the bottom. Okay, you can't press the button anymore. So that's pretty silly. So I don't know. Uh, I'm not. I'm not holding too much hope for this stuff to happen. Yeah. So they also have the other one, the the Rumble, which is like the whatever the like the political one. I think Rumble doesn't even have like a kind of like software streaming. Um, yeah, I remember that I like maybe like a year ago, I just like went and looked for the like all the alternatives, and none of them just had like a development at all. And I think there are like few big channels that were like reposting to some other ones, but like not streaming, but just like the videos. And even videos had I don't know like 5 views for a channel that has like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So yeah, it's in terms of like you should go where your target audience is. Yeah, I don't think there is like enough audience there. But I checked again on Rumble, and they don't allow you to live stream until you have like 5 subscribers, which is like nothing compared to the 100 or like 50 that YouTube used to have. I don't know. They probably still have it. I don't remember how all this works. I think you can verify. Yeah, because when I created Making Fix channel, it was enough to have some kind of like ID verification, and you didn't have to have any kind of uh, numbers because for Parasocial Fix there was something. Maybe I was also able to stream right away. I don't remember. I think it was a thing before I started streaming. You couldn't stream like on YouTube. I don't remember. Anyway, I'm not going to rumble about it. But yeah. Oh, haha, Rumble. But yeah, but I checked on Rumble and like I can't stream on Rumble. I checked on Kick. They just have so many like technical issues, so like I couldn't get my stream running. So yeah, I guess we will see how that's going to play out. I think the other problem is that if I'm multi-streaming on Twitter, like one or two some random platforms and YouTube and Twitch, how do I monitor the chat? I think it makes sense to just create like a some kind of like chat page or maybe even like a Discord uh, channel for all the chat. But then it's like, oh, how do I, if I'm like on the phone, how do I manage to watch the stream and like chat at the same time? Yeah, so yeah, startup idea is incoming. I think if yeah, and I always think about it when I think about like Twitter Spaces. Twitter Spaces don't have chat, so it's like, oh, if only it had chat. So it's like, I wonder if I can create a thing where you can like multi-stream to like 10 platforms at the same time, but have like a one chat. And Restream does the kind of like chat. Um, it kind of like does chat connection. So
Vargaru_ is now following.
Vargar, that's interesting. How do you pronounce it yourself? I guess. Hi. Yeah. So speaking of like Restream, so in Restream, if you have like everything that you want to stream on like through Restream, which you probably can, it can also connect the chat. So that that is helpful like for me, so I can see all the chat that is happening. But like other people's, if I'm like on YouTube, I can only see YouTube chat. If I'm on Twitch, I can only see Twitch chat. And like my messages are going to be delivered to like all the other platforms, but uh like not everyone's message is going to be. So to have some kind of like unified chat would be cool, but too much work, I guess. Yeah. So uh I don't know. Hi. So I'm just explaining kind of like um I guess yeah, just the question of like, is Twitch is going to die? And what are we going to do with it? I think having like gigabit connection and all that stuff is makes it a bit easier to just like restream to like 10 platforms and just like see whoever's going to win. But yeah, I don't know. It's not going so well so far. And yeah, so I'm planning to work today, and I'm not entirely sure on what. So I guess we will know after the break. Yeah, unless we have any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to start my timer. Yes, is am I going to work on this? I'm going to work on that. I'm not entirely sure. um, okay, so let's go.
I've been painting every fence I know. Every color bleeds into the same. 'Cause before Yes, you're very quite tough, always having bad luck. You think you're going crazy, look up, there's a new life waiting. Your head's buried in the sand, you've been dealt the wrong hand. Can't imagine how you feel, only you know that it's real. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Because you are stronger. Yes, you are stronger. Because you are stronger. Yes, you are stronger. always having bad luck. You think you're going crazy. Look up, there's a new life waiting. Your head's buried in the sand. You've been dealt the wrong hand. Can't imagine how you feel. Only you know that it's real. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Because you are stronger. Yes, you are stronger. Because you are stronger. Stronger.
Starting full system diagnostics. Machine status fully operational. System online. All stations are now enabled. Target dog the resistance. Operation Overkill.
steps down and escapes the day will calmly walk away from the fray. When structure falls and all else fails, we will build it once again. When the colors fade and it turns to gray, we'll calmly walk away from the fray. When structure falls and all else fails, we will build it once again. We can climb higher than before, or we could stand by while it burns to the floor, though we cannot fly. We will build and the wounds will mend as we build it once again.
Okay, apparently I forgot that I have a break. Still don't know what I'm doing. uh, I did some work stuff. I reviewed some PRs, but otherwise, I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. And what does that mean? I'm not sure. Don't have anything to show really. I think I'm going to write my slides a bit. Oh, hi. But otherwise, I'm not entirely sure. Elmo. Okay. Is it like Elmo? But hello, hello, Elmo, Elmo, Emlo. Hmm. Okay, it's pretty close on the keyboard. So is that a typo? It's like hello, but Emlo. Okay, and that's that's an order of things that could happen, I guess. um, I guess while I have you here, I want to show you this thing. So Tom Sherman. So that's I think I've heard that name before. I don't know where. Is that the Tom? No, that's not the Tom. I think Tom is too good uh to be like on Twitter, right? He's a genius. He doesn't have time for Twitter. He's like uh fetching SVN repos and stuff. He's too busy for that. But he said something about, hey, server components. I wonder if we can get 100% server only components. And it's like, do you mean HTML? I'm just I'm a bit confused about this question. Um, so I talked with him a bit and just like, okay, do you want this? Do you want like Astro? No, like Astro is too complicated. Okay, like what do you want? And it's uh, old school PHP. Again, I think PHP is like bad and like everything about everything about it is wrong. Okay, interesting. So this is the entire framework. Uh, so you have a server that starts. Okay, where do you put your router then? I didn't see this message before. So how do I add a second route? Isn't this just an RC? Yeah. So I have a lot of questions. um, so the thing that okay, so let's start with my thing, I guess. So this is just React to Stream, right? So like why are we talking about it as if this doesn't exist? So that's kind of like my problem with this. Yeah, so if you want this start function, just this is React React render to Stream. I'm so confused. So the message that I sent, this one. So there is this thing called NanoJSX. Do they even use it? This one is HTM. Oh, I guess I sent like the wrong example. Oops. Yeah, but this is like even like smaller. This is like not even Nano.jsx. This is just rendering to just rendering JSX to strings, right? So kind of like what he asked. Yeah, Nano.jsx works kind of like the same, but it's it could be like isomorphic. It could have like client only stuff and all that stuff. I think this one is just HTML. So this was this one. I think I sent the other message before. I don't know how to find it now. Oh yes, should be in this thread. Yeah, I don't know. So so Daisha said, okay, so in Deno you can just like call render to string. Like why are we talking about it? So I'm curious what's the answer is going to be. If it uses fetch, okay. Maybe I missed the part about fetch. Right, so it's like a sync component, so that makes it so that you're not waiting on data outside of render to string. You're doing that inside of render to stream or whatever whatever the API is now. But yeah, I'm so confused because this is like such a simple question, and there are like so many answers. I'm super confused about this. Yeah, my tweet is still going strong. It's like 6,000 likes. And this is like the stupidest thing. I'm so upset that like only the stupidest things are getting out. Yeah, I know why, but it's it's still sad. Okay, so what are we talking about? Yeah, so HTM. All this stuff. Yeah, so I'm writing this. We have like a few meetups around around me. So Remix one apparently is kind of like on pause right now. It was in like a really convenient location. I was going to make a talk there, but yeah, I'm either going to try some other place or just or just wait for Remix one to come back. Yeah, and I want to make a kind of like gentle introduction into React Server components, and like the kind of like the goal that I set for myself is like, yeah, just try not to show like any Next.js because it's like remix meetup, and I don't I don't want them to be upset. Yeah, I think that they should be fine with like Astra or something like that, but like I started writing it, and I spent too much into like I spent too much time on just like introducing everything, because if you don't like define the things that you're going to talk about, it's kind of like hard to talk about them. So yeah, I need to make it somehow shorter. But I like this relay stuff too much to cut it out. Yeah. So the idea is that like relay was the server components. This was supposed to like solve everything. It's just like the only problem, like no one uses Relay. It's so hard to use, like that just like no one uses it. I like this is an example that they generated with ChatGPT. Like I have no idea how to like test it. I'm not going to try to create a relay I guess like a relay project just to see if this works. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so I guess I will continue working on that for a bit. And um like while I'm introducing all the terms, I wanna just like explain that React Server components have like a lot of aspects to it. And I think it would be it's basically when I think about it, I think so the way that they could have done it, they could have just solved kind of like one aspect of it and say, hey, this is the feature that we added. But the problem with that approach is like, yeah, who cares? I'm not going to use that feature. Like it doesn't do anything unless I have like 10 other features, and they're like, okay, so now here are like 10 features that you can use in like together, and you will get like a full solution. And everyone's like, oh, this is too complicated. Can you just introduce everything one by one? Yeah. And that's funny because like everyone looks at React Server components and just like sees different things. So like that Tom, not the Tom, but that Tom. He's like, oh, I just want async components that I just want to like fetch for stuff and resolve it. And that's kind of like how Astra works. You can just like await inside of HTML, and that's going to work. Some people want just that. Some people want streaming. Some people want layouts or like nested layouts. I don't remember how the feature is called. Some people want server actions. Some people want like partial hydrations or like progressive enhancement forms. So it's like there are so many aspects you can talk about, and if I'm not going to like talk about them, it's bad. But if I'm going to talk about like all of them, it's going to be like 5 talks, and I'm not even sure that I'm ready to give one, right? And giving 5 it seems like outside of bounds a bit. Anyway, let's go back to music and let's see what I can get out of this.
to Boston. Lives in a world she's lost in. Victim of compromise. He's staring at her Aberdeen heart, London eyes, Glasgow bones. She's a whistle in the catacombs, a paradox. He's in love with the statue in a marble block. He's in love with the girl that time forgot. She just shoots her ears. She's falling too far with salt in her scars. Won't let him taste her tears. She's falling too far. The girl that time forgot. Wasted moments, full of potential atonement. An angel in disguise, but he can see her Aberdeen heart, London eyes, Glasgow bones. She's a whistle in the catacombs, a paradox. Oh, he's in love with the statue in a marble block. He's in love with the girl that time forgot. She just shuts her ears. She's falling too far with salt in her scars. Won't let him taste her tears. She's falling too far. The girl that time forgot. The girl that time forgot. running away from the past I left behind. I'm looking for answers, but I'm blinded by the light. I'm lost in the music, can I stay here for the night? I promise I'll be gone in the morning, out of sight and out of mind. Now we race against the sun. Now we race against the sun.
turn it on.
children of the night, but it's the only way of life. It's black holes pulling me inside of this black heart, the black soul underneath this black, black sky. Maybe you should come with me. I'll take you to the dark side. Me and you and me, do bad things in the nighttime. Maybe you should come with me, and we can kill a light, hit the light for the blackout, blackout, hit the light for the blackout, blackout. Blackbird, black moon, black sky, black light, black everything, black, black heart, black keys, black diamonds, blackout, black everything, black, black everything, everything, all black, everything, everything, all black, everything, everything, all black, everything, everything, black. Baby, you should come with me. Me and you and me. Baby, you should come with me, and we can kill the lights, hit the lights for the blackout, blackout, hit the lights for the blackout, blackout. Blackbird, black moon, black sky, black light, black everything, black, black heart, black keys, black diamonds, blackout, black everything, black, black everything, everything, all black, everything, everything, all black, everything, everything, all black, everything, everything, black. Break it down.
Oh, okay. Apparently, I forgot that I have. I should have a break. Doesn't appear to contain any spelling errors. Blah blah blah. Okay. Um, so apparently, I wrote. Uh, apparently, I wrote an utility uh, for React uh, that isn't even released yet. So I need to clean some stuff up though. Guess I can leave the second one. Yeah. So I'm working on my whatever kind of like talk or or thing about React Server components, and that got me into like looking into how new React works, and I was in Next Docs, and they have this example of like, okay, so the question that I was answering is like why React Server components are worse than Remix, and Remix kind of like loaders and actions, and the idea is that in one of the aspects is that in uh, actions you can actually return something, and you can't in React Server components. So I was thinking, okay, so do they have like any kind of like mechanisms? And what I found is that they have this, uh, yeah, so you can do like transitions, uh, which again, like transitions don't return anything. Uh, there is some kind of use optimistic. I haven't looked into that one yet. I guess the idea is that you can provide interesting. That's that's interesting. So experimental use optimistic hooks provide a way to implement optimistic stability technique. Okay, so you have like one place where you can merge something, but add optimistic message. Okay. So it's like set state, but with time. Okay, like how do you reset it later? How does it work? This is so confusing. Yeah, so I was looking at this one at use form status, and the idea is that you can say, "Hey, is my form pending?" What is not like immediately obvious from this is that you're doing it in like inside of submit, so you're not doing it uh, from the form. I guess I should like probably for completion just like explain how it would work without this. I guess the plan is to have uh, it uh, without book without uh, yes, that's something like this. And so now I have this submit button, and I'm creating submit. Uh, I'm creating submit button. So now uh, that submit button is not taking anything. Gets it gets this, so it's pending, and we are putting this there. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, and I guess we don't do anything about that one. I can probably just create a second one just to show. So submit 2, and then submit 2. Okay, and no listeners. Okay, so what's wrong with this? Oh, forgot to return. You forgot to return. Yeah, thank you. It was yelling at me, so okay. So this is the version that they want you to use. They're like, yeah, just repeat everything. It's fine. and it's probably fine. I should remove this though, or do I? This is docs that are going to work in like in like a year, so don't expect anyone to use it. I want to like tweet it and in a tweet just to say you should bookmark this now. You will need this in a year or two. Because this is like a completely this is a completely kind of like thing that is, I don't know. No one will probably like even know what I'm talking about. Not just the first one, happens every. It's the first one, yeah. That seems like a reasonable assumption. You see gold start from new nodes. I wait. I think someone gets exact text before using it. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like that's the point of my talk, is just to explain that if you're using React Query or like Remix right now, nothing that will come up with React Server Components is going to look as nice, because like that level of tools is not there. Yeah, I think it's not like it's not you, it's me problem, right? It's just it's React Server Components are just in a too early stage to be competitive, and it's like it's nice that I have okay, actually actually I wrote that hook, and I'm not sure if I need to use it. Yeah, it's just because how good Remix and like React Query is. If React Server Components were released like a few years before, when we didn't have those patterns, I think it would have been like much easier to accept this. And again, if there were a bit like easier to adopt if they didn't require you to like rethink best practices and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to uh, show, I think it's like remix use fetcher, because use fetcher has like bending and stuff. Yeah, stage and stuff. You create fetcher. Yeah, I was thinking about like adding a form into this hook just to show like how it works. Yeah, sure. So okay, let's go to action and let's just see what kind of examples they have. Yeah, so they have a form, and this form has an action. Okay, so how do I get like pending pending state loading indicator? Uh, hmm. Okay, let's go ChatGPT. I want to show a spinner while my remix action is performing. Using forms plus server actions also feels like a step down after all those nice things that they can do with React Hooks forms. Yeah, so the thing is that I never touched like anything related to forms. So I just like all the, it's the same way as like CSS and JS. I was like, okay, I don't need this. I will use like CSS modules. I don't need like any of that stuff. I will use something like more simple, and like I never used like component library, so like I'm living on like much simpler abstractions. So when they talk about like, oh, this form library is like slower than this form library, I'm like, okay, I'm not using any form libraries. And when they kind of like, when the shift happened from like having controlled forms to like uncontrolled forms, where you just like don't even like update your forms on every input, I was like, oh wow, this is like such an easier thing. Like, can we switch to that? Yeah, so it's like my thing is that the more that we go from like having tons of state in like some kind of like form library, the better. So like for prompts with friends, for example, uh that's like when you're editing the form. Yeah, this is like serverless in all of its glory. So when you're editing this form, unfortunately, kind of like I had to make it a controlled form. Otherwise, I forgot what, but like I needed this. But whenever it's possible, so like for example, this form is like nothing from React is touching it. I think this form is doing something. I think it's like changing Boolean from like true to false if it's public or private. So if I change between these ones, it's like it's not re-rendering. So that's kind of like my idea. If I go to if I go to components and I turn on whatever the what is it, highlight updates, yeah. So this is my ideal for this is my ideal form library. When I type and nothing React specific changes, and this is the only thing that uh, oh no, I created it. uh, where's edit? Okay, so where I go to this one and I select team and private, like this one doesn't trigger any rerenders. So this is my philosophy on this, and I'm super happy. And when I do like save button, I'm working on it in like on submit thing, and I'm just like sending form data to TRPC, and it's like, okay, they have Zod over there, let them parse and like validate and do all of that stuff. In my SaaS product, we have a ton of complex forms, some of which a user should be able to make themselves. I read a tweet once about how if you're building SaaS, you need to build two things: forms and job queues. And looking back, and spent most of the time. Yeah, this is not a real SaaS. We don't have forms and job queues yet. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so it's like we're doing dialogue through confirm. So this is the level that I'm just like I'm a fan of. I think everything should work like that. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. What kind of remix is that? Okay, handle action. So click on a button. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, this is like not even close. Yeah, that guy stopped responding. This is sad. I figured out how to use prompts with friends. That so the idea is that where's the scammer? Yeah. So so the thing that I did is that I added a few system messages, but otherwise I just like copied my Twitter uh, talk with him. So it's like this is what he says, this is what I responded, and so when he says something new, I will just like generate GPT response. And there was like some issues. So when he said like, "What are you doing for a living?" It would always like say, "Hey, I'm a model. Like, why are you asking me this?" So I wrote a system message, and it kind of like unstuck it. So it's really cool that like this sort of like thing that I'm doing here, it's much harder to do that in if you're using like just like this UI. Okay, was it able to do this? No. What's wrong with it? My prompt is bad. Want to show a spinner while uh, performing. Make sure to use remix action remix actions uh, where it adds uh, adds data to a SQL table, something like that. So it's like it understands more that I'm looking for something on the server. It's like how do you format it in a way that ChatGPT understands that you have a dialogue and you want to like only get like one answer from this whole dialogue, and how do you kind of like on the fly explain it that you want like this answer and that answer. I think this like this thing that we created with this like a joke product, I think this is once you understand how it works, there's no kind of like alternatives like that. Have a global spinner. I wonder if we can do the same with remix. Yeah, yeah. So this is closer. What is Slonic? Oh, it's probably interesting because it's Postgres. Yeah, like Postgres has a logo of elephant, an elephant in Russian is slon, or a slonik, which is like a little elephant. So this is probably done by someone from Russia. Um, I never heard of that. I don't care about SQL in JavaScript, so I never heard any of that stuff. Utilities for Node Postgres. Okay, uses themes. Okay, it adds types, I guess. Okay, it's another one of those. Okay, interesting. The best JS lib progress. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Scale and save. So my concern is like Node something is like, no, I don't want Node. I want to do like, maybe I want to do serverless and all that stuff. Like, why am I pinning myself to Node? Okay, so create context, loading provide. Okay, this is silly. Why is it so complicated? Why is it using fetcher and not actions? This is like so confusing to me. Okay, it would be funny if my point about like Remix being better will not turn out to be true. Okay. So what is happening? So have an action. Okay. I'm reading React Router docs, not Remix docs. Okay. Use action data. Yeah, so for this.
What?
So is adding. Where do we get is adding? Use transition. Yeah, so transition is a thing that they call like when it's moving between routes. Yeah. Okay. Well, is it better? Yeah, this makes my point a bit harder to make. Isn't enough remix code out there? Yeah, probably. That's how I'm reading it. I'm not even sure if like remix was like released properly. Open source. Yeah, so it's November 21. Yeah, so it's like it just got open source, though they didn't have data. People who are not on Twitter use Remix. Yeah, as with everything, I think a lot more. I think people on Twitter represent just like a small fraction of like everything that is happening. So the same way that I'm pretty sure like there are people who use React Server components and not on Twitter and probably like are confused why everyone is so upset. They're just using it. They're fine. And I think Remix is the same thing. It's just a lot of people just use it and they're happy. That's how I'm reading it. Okay. So I have like a bit more time before I go home. So I will go and listen to some music and hopefully I will figure out how to make that point that I was going to make. I feel like people only really discover something like Remix. Is it though? Okay, so how do you discover Remix? I think you discover Remix through Google. It's like, okay, what are React frameworks right now? And if you're like on LinkedIn, you're probably heard about it because it's like it got acquired by Shopify. So I think there are like a lot of circles that are using Remix. And They actually have this huge marketing move. So what happened is that npm threads. So Remix, which is, I don't know, let's say this one. And then there's React Router. And then there is Remix Round. Is that the right it? Router. Yeah. So this is what what's happening. A lot people use React Router, and it's like, okay, hey, we need to update our React Router version. What is? Let's go to React Router. Let's go to React Router docs and see what's the latest version. Oh, 6.4. Okay. Let me just quickly install it, right? And I think the way that it works right now is like the React Router package is just like a wrapper against the Remix Router package. So you still see that like not everyone has updated to the last version, but like all the people who are like updating to it while just like trying to use React Router, they're automatically using Remix Round Router. And then you're just like, oh, what is that thing in my log file? Oh, what is that type that is like coming from Remix Router? So it's like, it just, the amount of like free marketing they get just because like React Router is like such a huge thing, that makes Remix just like automatically. So like you could be like just disconnected from like everything happening online, and you will hear about Remix Router, and you're like, oh, so what's the Remix? So yeah, they don't need Twitter. Remix guys used to do React training. Yes, I think they still do. Might know them. Yeah, exactly. So they're like they are people who everyone knows, kind of like outside of Twitter, and I don't know. You can go to conferences. Your boss can just like read an article on LinkedIn about like Remix being acquired by Shopify. I think Remix has a lot of channels to get into people's mind. That's a bit like harder with like Astro, because like I use Astro as like Next.js and like Remix alternative, and I think for that use case you will probably like never never get it. And that's why I want to write my own kind of like Remix framework. So I already have a name. I got it like almost like a year ago. The idea is to create like a small kind of like remix clone with I don't know, like enough kind of like remix features that it looks like a remix alternative, but it's just Astro. Parasocial React framework. Yeah, kind of. I just need time. So I have like this QGP stuff, which is kind of like part of part of Remix, and I'm waiting basically like on Tanner Lindsley to do his 10 stack start, because I think that's solving a lot of the same issues. And alternatively, I could be like helping him to write 10 stack start. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I would be able to do that for free. Okay, so So GPT is not helping us with this stuff. Yeah. Hopefully, this is going to be like Googleable in some sense. I hope that like people are going to be writing something like that. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't return. I guess. Uh, so return. Never updated. Yeah. Maybe your candidates. Yeah. I heard about like my grandma used to talk. My grandma used to tell me Windows product keys before bed. So can you be my grandma? So that this is that level of stuff. uh, just in case if anyone is getting caught on uh, the part where uh, where is it? Where return value is never is not return value is not updated uh, for submitted for form. I wrote a small utility that could help you with that. I guess that's how I'm going to call it. It allows you to lift the date of what's the hook is called again? Submit form from child components component app to the parent. Yeah, so these people are living on the edge. I don't know if they're here because of the Twitter, but they're already kind of like hitting those issues. I guess I will show like what the issue is. So I started looking into like new stuff, and what I noticed is that there's like server actions stuff actually works on the client as well. So the idea here is that this component, it's a client component, so that's the only components that you can get in Astro at the moment. So instead of writing on submit, you're writing action. So usually action is URL, right? So it's like where what what URL is going to get your form data. But here you're doing a function that takes form data as a argument, and it doesn't take any more. That's the problem with like people who are trying to use React Store Components right now, and they're like, oh, but I want to redirect, I want to read headers, I want to like do all of that other stuff, and it's like nope. um, but so it takes form data. It's actually doing the submitter part, which is just like a recently added thing to form data. Where is it? constructor. Yes, this one. Yeah, so you can create form data with the form and a submitter. I just want something that lets me prefix all callbacks. Yeah, I think you're talking about HTMX, right? That's the way that they do it. Just like, yeah, just send to this URL and it's going to be fine. Yeah, so they're taking into account submitter thing, which is, I think, like Remix still doesn't do that. So this is really good that they kind of like thought about it. It shows up in a way that like I have two submit buttons, and just like depending on which one you're going to click, you will see like the form data have that button data. So it's actually like important thing for some forms. Yeah. Yes, and so this is this is like this was good thing for me to kind of like figure this out. So I have this form and I can like send something, right? So it's like it will wait for like 300 milliseconds and and say, hey, you submitted stuff. So let me do it again. Yeah, so it waited for a second, I mean fraction of a second, and posted something. But I can also do like uh, add record. And the thing about add record is that I can say function add record, and it say that it's like SQL like insert into stuff, right? So I have this function, and now I just write use server, and this thing turned into an endpoint, and it takes the same form data as the other one. So I can just like send form data here, and it's like, oh, okay, so now I can like I'll wait for it. It's not going to like do anything because it's like this doesn't you can't return any data. That's kind of like the point that I'm trying to show with the with server actions, so that server actions return actions in Remix return data, and server actions in React don't. Clients that go back in the security risk at times. So this is the way that React Server components give it to you in Bling, which what I want to what I want to add to this demo to kind of like to show the alternative. In Bling, what you do is you say that like, hey, so I have this function that is like I think it's fetch $sign now, but yeah, so that's the idea. Is like I just, instead of use server, I just wrap it in a thing, and you can actually kind of like skip this part and just put it here, right? So, and it's going to be kind of like in line. Do that. I think it doesn't work like very well, and there are like reasons why you shouldn't do that. You should do it kind of like outside of the, kind of like as outside as possible, maybe like different file, all of that stuff. But yeah. This is closer. Yeah, I don't know. They all kind of like similar, but in fetch you can actually do you can actually can access like requests and stuff. So this is what I use in what's the thing called? Yeah. So this is what I use in my demo. This is the only production ready Bling server, Bling like deployment. And yeah, so what it does is it I'm getting this function, like I'm wrapping it into fetch, and now I can, where is it? Yeah, now I can just like do whatever with it. So like here I'm doing on submit, and I'm doing like tons of other stuff, and then just call to the server, right? So it's like uh, you can't even do that in like React Query, because React Query makes you to kind of like split everything apart, and you're getting data either in like on success parameter, or you have to like wait for data dot something or like something dot data to show up. So this is like really nice API, and it's going to work the same in React Server Components. So this run server, uh, like you can await on it and all that stuff, but you can't get data from it. That's the unfortunate part. Yeah, so the build stage is there's actually like a bug with it. So okay, so let me start with this. So you have this uh, pages, this one. Yeah. So you start with this. You create like API endpoint that is going to catch uh, all those uh, all those calls, and it will check. Uh, I don't remember like the exact URL because I did this whatever the 4 months ago. Um, so you have like some special URL, and you can your API thing should check if this URL has been kind of like registered, and this is the kind of like the bad part. uh, so the way that it registers is that it needs to call this function. So when you call this fetch function, that's the moment when this you, basically like run server in a sense returns a URL. That's kind of like how you need to think about it. And it's like it doesn't know that URL until this fetch function has run. So it's like it just runs this function and uh, and just like registers. Okay, so if this URL is hit, call this function. And that means that you can get into a situation where your function is not registered. So imagine if you're talking about like TRPC, and imagine if TRPC didn't register all the procedures that you have, but it registered like some. Until you like SSR it on the server, it doesn't know that you have that that uh, how do you call it? Procedure. Yeah. So this is like this reminds me of like asynchronously loading like remix stores. It's like I don't know if I have this like data remix. So this is just the thing that is going to be the way that it's written right now. You can get into a situation where you're like user opened the page and then just like waited for half an hour, so your like lambda has died, and they clicked on the button, and because they didn't do SSR, like your function could be not registered. But yeah, they have to have a compile step that goes through all the files and like looks for this stuff. uh, but I think they don't have it right now or something like that. So I don't remember the specifics, but what the compile step does do, it will turn all of those calls into basically like fetches. So every client, every time you call it on the client, it will turn it into like fetch this URL, fetch that URL, and on the server, it will like register all of those things on that API handler, and that API handler is going to respond with this stuff. But yeah, because of this like asynchronous kind of like nature of like registering it, I had this issue at least. So hopefully they will fix it somehow. Yeah, the compilation step. Yeah, yeah, that's the joke that they have in the slides uh, about relay. Is like, yeah, everything that you think is like not fixed, not solved in React, it's already solved in Relay. Just like no one just knows how to use it. they have um, they have this thing where it's like, so I'm showing here. It's when you're like showing when you're fetching home feed, and that home feed can have like different components, and if all the home feed has for you is like images and text posts, it's not going to download the component for videos, and you're going to get it as like one bundle instead of waiting for the data, then asking for like lazy loaded like bundles and all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, this is solved in Relay, but just like no one knows how to use Relay. So this is what React Server components have to solve again, right? So it's like they allow you to your homepage to have like all the separate bundles for all the configurations that you can have client components. Because the idea is that if you have on the server some kind of like I don't know, like A/B testing, and you just like load A or load B, it will in React Server components, depending on like on the data of A/B testing, it will send you like only A or only B, and it's like it's hard to do that unless unless you're Relay. Yeah, I don't. I'm not excited about GraphQL. I think it's a fine technology to use when you have like mobile phones where, or like maybe like offline first app where it's like you just don't know what version your client is using, and it's like that's kind of like that's where you have to go to GraphQL. But yeah, we just we just didn't go there where it's needed. Okay, so I talked with you for the last minutes that I had instead of doing actual work. So uh, okay, just for fun, let's try streaming on Kick again. Oh no, it doesn't work. Oh well. Okay. Bye everyone. Okay.